Buddy Manning here. Welcome to a practice edition of the Garden Report. At home, some technical difficulties over at Auerbach. But earlier this afternoon, Celtics running a full session with Marcus Smart available. He's back from his neck ailment that left him out of the last few regular season games. Dealing with ankle, thigh, all kinds of things throughout the year. Joe Mazzulla said he had a great session today. No limitations, and he's fully ramped up for the playoffs. Jaylen Brown did sit out as expected here today. Brad Stevens said on Sunday they think Brown will be back later this week. Joe Mazzulla today said it should be Thursday or Friday.
CLNS Media's Celtics coverage is brought to you by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and make every moment more on America's #1 sportsbook.
Celtics, meanwhile, posted some photos of him lifting to social media without the wrap that did grow smaller over the weekend and wasn't on his hand, at least while he was lifting today. No apparent cut, at least from that photo, visible. So Celtics say no limitations on Saturday for game 1, 3:30 against either the Hawks or Heat, depending on who wins tonight. We will have post-game coverage of that here on CLNS Media and start to preview one of those two opponents. Also on CLNS Media, I released my All-NBA team. I don't have a vote, of course, but if I did, the 15 players I picked would have included Jaylen Brown, and it wasn't easy. Labored over some of these decisions, particularly forward, and Brown was my last selection to this team against LeBron James, Pascal Siakam, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant. You end up facing a pedigree question here, as well as a games played question, just how important that is. There's the forward guard position, though. I think people who want to include Brown will need to slate him as a forward if they want to do so, just because of how many guards there are up for contention this year. And that's another difficult decision I labored over. De'Aaron Fox versus Steph Curry and the third team. I think the top four are pretty easy at that position, though. And Brown, you look at the numbers, and I looked at everything yesterday when it comes to him. Great scoring numbers. Lacking in other areas like rebounding and assists compared to the competition. The efficiency, particularly from two-pointers, a boost, though. The free throw numbers don't help him a ton either. Turnovers as well. Difficult number for Brown to grapple with. When it comes to the advanced stats, Brown might fare the worst among the contenders for the forward spot, which is concerning. In context, seems like the explanation for that is how the Celtics stagger him and Tatum, his lack of minutes next to Tatum, for that matter, and going against second units with Boston's second unit. All reasons that Brown's on-off, as well as plus-minus numbers, don't amount to great analytic numbers, whether it's Raptor, which had him in the hundreds. LeBron doesn't rank him very highly. Estimated plus-minus. All these numbers don't speak great to Brown's season, along with his inability to stuff the stat sheet outside of points. Though if you watch all these players this year, if you take availability into account, if you leave the pedigree out of it, and it's going to be very difficult to leave LeBron James out of it this year after he made the All-NBA team from 05 to 22. I did, however, did not love Brown's play while he was chasing the scoring title first half of the season. They're below the play-in line. That matters to me. Brown continuously improved from a strong starting point, as Brad Stevens said earlier this year. His scoring, in context, freed up Jason Tatum for what should be a first-team All-NBA season. And then I think he is a third-team guy, but you look at some of the voting so far, which should make you feel good about him, is the fact that a J.J. Redick submitted him for second-team All-NBA, as well as other voters early on. Those will boost his standing, at least relative to the competition. Now, of course, Tatum, Giannis, probably the favorites for first-team forwards. Second team, I was surprised by Jimmy Butler's numbers. Great production from him, especially in the analytic categories. Super efficient, played more often this year, reached the high 60s in games played, carried Miami's offense, so they did need him to shoot more often. Stunning to only see him average 13 shots a game. That's the reason I think he falls short of Tatum for first-team status, though the passing, rebounding, defense, all those different things you look at with Butler, sensational this year. So I slot him in at second team. I'll also throw Larry Markin in there, who was surprisingly efficient from three, from the field, taking a ton of shots, 20 per game at a 50% rate, while being the player that everyone focuses on when they play Utah. That's amazing to me. High level rebounding. Defense, a neutral for him. I don't think he hurt the Jazz defensively, though they did not have a great season on that end. He'll be an interesting case if it does come down to him and Brown for the last one, because I do have him above Brown on the second team. And third team, Randall, Brown, make it for me. Games played, availability huge for both. Their total scoring among the highest in the NBA, and both of those factors played a large part in the Knicks and Celtics' success. Brown's defense, a significant assist for him over LeBron, who I don't think defends at quite the same level. Kawhi's availability too low, though he did have a 50, 40, 90 year, which will be difficult to balance, I think, for voters, as well as Kevin Durant, who was available less than anyone, only played pretty much every other game this year, traded midseason. I don't think it's enough, but those stats will, I think, wow some voters. Just an incredibly efficient, dominant season for Durant, who won pretty much every game he played in over his last 23. This is a tough vote. This will be a close vote. I don't think Brown's a slam dunk, though I do think he deserves to be here. And I think many voters will agree, given Boston's success this year. My third team, All NBA, consisted of Steph Curry, a difficult choice over De'Aaron Fox, Julius Randle, Brown, as well as Domantas Sabonis. And my final guard spot went to, looking back on it, Ja Morant. So that's my NBA team. What were yours? Comment below. And of course, check out our other video here on Celtics All Access from practice today, looking at Robert Williams' role, another key X factor heading into the postseason. Saturday, game one. We'll have coverage of the play-in tonight, as I said. See who advances to play the Celtics in that game one at 3:30. And check us out at practice again later this week. And all of the reaction from today's practice on CLNS Media. I'm Bobby Manning. This has been Practice Edition of the Garden Report.